What's up guys, Justin here for S&S Archery, and today's gear video is a comparison on the 3 tripods that we carry here at S&S Archery. We've done a lot of testing and there's a lot of things to consider when selecting a tripod, from the stability, how adjustable, the durability and the weight of a tripod. There's a lot of things to consider, and we feel that with these 3 they fit in those categories very nice, and that's why we carry them here at S&S. In this video, we're going to go over the specs a little bit, highlight those categories, and help you determine what tripod is going to be the best one for you. So in our lineup, we have the Slik 634, the Slik 624, and the Sirui T-O24SK tripod. This is also known as our Backcountry Combo. So basically what that means is when you buy this tripod, you're getting the VA5 video head as part of the kit. As you can see, the VA5 is on the other 2 tripods. They do not come with a tripod. It's just an add-on here in the store. But it is our only tripod head that we carry. And the reason why is we love it. We've done so much testing with other heads, but we feel like there's no need to carry any others. It just performs so flawlessly, and we highly recommend it. I'll leave a video link right here so you can get more in-depth look at the VA5, some of the features and specs of the video head itself. When you talk about the stability of a tripod, that's probably the most important thing for us. If we're going to be packing in a tripod, you know, taking that initiative to carry more weight into the backcountry, that can be hard at times. And so the reasons why we're taking the tripod is to help us glass, you know, whether it's with the spotting scope or binoculars, and ultimately cutting down on movement. So that's where that stability comes in. It's very important. And that is, you know, the main reason why you're going to be packing a tripod in is to be very stable. By far, our Sliks are going to perform at the highest mark of the stability as far as those other categories and where they fit at. And that has to do with 2 reasons. Number 1, their leg angle. They're a little bit wider. So just like an athlete has a wider stance, you're going to be more stable. If you stand up real tall, somebody pushes you, it's easier to fall over. So widening those leg angles helps it be more stable. Also, when you start looking at the components of a tripod, anywhere there's a joint in a tripod, you're going to have a little bit of flex. With the Sliks, they have a very oversized twist lock system that really solids up the tripod, and there's no movement in those legs, even when you get out to the smaller sections. As far as the Sirui, your twist locks aren't as big, so you are going to have a little bit more movement, and where that's really going to come in is those little, you know, as the wind blows and your spotting scope moves a little bit, you're going to have more of those micro vibrations, and they're going to take longer to dissipate on this tripod head versus the Sliks. These ultimately are going to be the fastest to eliminate, but it still does a great job. As far as durability, so Rob's been running the same Slik 624 for I think 7 years now, hasn't had any issues with it. I know I've been in and out of cars and trucks and been all over the place and haven't broken any parts. They just perform very nice. They take a beating, you know. You have to have a tripod that's going to withstand, you know, in the pack, out the pack, in the pack, falling over, you know, just random stuff that can happen. If you're constantly having to replace your tripod every couple years because a leg breaks, a leg section, or a lock breaks on you, that's ultimately not good. These are definitely going to perform and hold up as far as that durability and strength. When you're in a hunting situation, things happen fast. If you throw up your binos, there's deer moving on the ridge line, you got to set up a spotter, find out if it's a big buck or not. If you can't get your tripod set up fast, that's not going to be beneficial. With the Sliks and the Sirui, we have a twist lock system. So what that means is all the leg sections loosen up by a simple half twist. As you can see, they're very fast to open up. And then even when it's time to go, it's a half twist, close them up. And just like that. So as you can see, they're very fast. That's important. Everything about them, they're not really tricky. I have used the lever locks before. The downside for me is if you get any dust on those levers, they have a tendency to creak on you. So that's where the twist locks are very nice. You're not going to get that extra sound. They're going to be rigid, and they're very fast. Another thing with these 3 tripods is Depending on your terrain and how you're sitting when you're glassing, you can ultimately change the leg angles. So if this isn't wide enough, you know, to fit the ground, you can actually push out this lever here, move the leg angle up, and you can actually move it up even further. So this will really help, you know, where you're on those uneven surfaces and you really need to get, you know, unique and intricate when you start setting up the tripod itself. Same thing with the Sirui. And lastly, the weight. So you can have the most stable tripod, but if it comes in at 8 pounds, obviously that's not good. We're trying to stay as minimal as possible in weight, but yet have, you know, those other 3 categories that are so important come into effect. And with all 3 of these, you're gonna see, as I get into the specs, you're gonna be pretty impressed with when I start talking weights on these tripods. So the Slik 634 comes in at 3 pounds 2 ounces. It has a collapsible length of 22 inches, but it raises all the way up to 67 inches. So this is a tripod that you can use completely, you know, when standing, sitting. It's my favorite because you can do it all with the one tripod. At 3 pounds 2 ounces, the very light setup. That is with the VA5 head. So you minus the pound for the VA5, 2 pounds 2 ounces. Killer lightweight setup. As far as the Slik 624, this tripod comes in at 17.5 inches collapsed. It raises up to 48 inches through the center post. And it comes in at 2 pounds 13 ounces. So it's a very lightweight setup. This is, you know, mainly going to be for guys that, you know, just are sitting. 48 inches, you know, we're talking here. So a lot of times you're going to be looking over and down your spotter. It's not what you're going to be wanting to do for a long period of time. As far as the Sirui T-O24SK tripod, this tripod comes in at 2 pounds 14 ounces. And what you're going to find with this tripod is it actually collapses down to 16 inches. So 17.5, 16 looks a little bit not right. But with this tripod, you raise the center post and then you can actually flip the legs all the way over. And now you have a very short tripod. So that is definitely a benefit of the Sirui. Just a little side note, if you are going to lengthen any of these center posts, you're going to lose a little bit of your stability because you're relying on this for a lot of the strength and the higher you get. So keeping it lower is ultimately going to be better. This tripod, like I said, collapses 16 inches, but it raises up to 58.5 inches. So it is a tripod that you can stand with as well. I'm 5'10" and I'm able to use this with a straight or a pair of binos. It's kind of right at that border, so if you're taller than I am, you know, you might want to consider Slik 634. So now that we've kind of gone over the specs, I'm going to move the table back, set them up so you guys can see how tall they are, kind of reference, you know, the size of each one of these tripods. So there's kind of a look at the height differences. As you can see, the Slik 624 is rather small. By loosening the center post, you are getting up fairly high, but to be able to glass, you know, with anything straight or binoculars, it's just not going to work. The Sirui T-O24SK tripod definitely has enough length. It is right up here, so obviously if it's steep, I'm going to be okay, but if I'm looking downhill, it might be a little tricky. So if you're, you know, a little bit taller than I am, it's going to be a little bit trickier. And this Slik 634, like I said, is just going to do it all for you. So as you can see, it's very tall. So I will close these back up. We'll jump in front of put them back on the table and wrap up the video. So that pretty much sums up, you know, the specs, things we look at in a tripod. Now, what makes this tripod, you know, which one should you choose? So for me, my personal favorite is the 634, mainly because you can stand, you can sit, it's the all-in-one. To be able to do it all in one, that's why I really like the 634. If you're a guy that just does not stand up to glass, you know, you're sitting on those ridge lines early in the morning, all day long, go with the Slik 624. Very lightweight, compact. It's a great setup. And then if you're on a budget, so this is This is a great tripod. If you're just starting into the backcountry game, you want to get something that's going to, you know, elevate your glassing game. Go with the Sirui, our Backcountry Combo. It's a great kit. It's our value kit. So this is about $100 less than these two. So can't say enough about these 3 tripods. If you guys have any questions about these 3 tripods or anything else in the store that we carry, please feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email. We'd be glad to help. Thanks for watching.